I've got my basic card set up and I'm ready to start to add the elements that I need in the design. In my particular scenario, I am going to show you how I would approach this with a logo graphic that I designed in Illustrator because it's one of the more slightly challenging things that you get into with Lucidpress. Typically, with something that I designed in Illustrator, especially if I wanted a non-white background, I need that graphic to come in with a transparent background. And only certain options out of Illustrator are going to work for us here. The same thing would be true of Photoshop. It's actually even more limited in terms of transparency. So I want to show you what does and does not work for Lucidpress. If you were in InDesign, you could choose pretty much all of the options and they would work without the difficulty that Lucidpress has. Okay, so I'm going to go to my image area here, and I've got a couple of graphics I've already brought in. I want to show you the issue that I'm running into. An AI file isn't even recognized by the software, so that's not an option. An EPS file is not recognized by the Lucidpress software, so that's not an option. It'll do JPEGs, it'll do PNGs, it'll do SVGs, and it'll do PDFs, and I think that's it. So I've brought in currently a PDF, which is the bottom option I've got here, and I'll show you how that comes in. This PDF has no background in Illustrator, but it comes into Lucid with a background. So if you're hoping for transparency and you're trying to keep vector, PDF seems like a good option, but it isn't if you require that transparent background. So if the background transparency isn't an issue, PDF is still a great option because you've got the scalability without loss of quality, but the background transparency is a deal breaker if that is something that you require. So I'm going to delete that PDF and go to my second option, which is a PNG. A PNG is an export out of Illustrator, but it will come into Lucid cleanly with a nice transparent background. It'll go into any color. So let's say I change my mind and I decide I want a blue background. You can change it to whatever it needs to be and you don't have any problems with regard to that graphic. And that's one of the advantages of working with a true transparent background document is you can make the final decision on what that's going to be in the design application rather than in the program where the graphic was originally created. Okay, so I've got the PNG. The downside to the PNG is that you have to export it out of Illustrator at the resolution that you want. It tries to make it screen resolution. I did mine at 300 so it will be appropriate for print, but the PNG will work. And there's one other thing that will work. I'm going to come over to my graphic. I'm going to go to the Manage button at the top, and I'm going to upload another graphic. And in this case, you'll notice it says Images, Folder, SVG files. SVGs stands for Scalable Vector Graphic. It is a file type that you can create out of Illustrator cleanly. It's something that actually Adobe came up with. Originally, it's not used all that much anymore, but it is a useful format. And I'm going to go to where I have the SVG. And I'm going to click on the Open button, which you currently can't see. It's not letting me move it. And it's going to tell me that it's been uploaded, but that it isn't going to be saved into Image Manager. That's because it's placed directly into the canvas, and it makes it unique in terms of your file types. SVGs can work, but they won't be stored in the Image Manager. Now, it looks teeny, but it's a scalable vector graphic. I'm not going to lose any quality, so I can make it however large I want it to. And one other thing that's kind of unique, because most of the other things in Lucid are going to scale proportionally, it'll let you stretch this thing in a way that other graphics aren't, for better or for worse. So if you need it to scale proportionally, you will have to hold down your Shift key. Okay, so I've got the graphic. It's in here. Now, the one thing I will tell you with SVGs is my stroke weight is toast. I'm getting the thinnest stroke weight that it can create. So if I had a particular weight that I needed out of Illustrator, I would need to expand that one and have it outline the stroke before I did the SVG so that I could keep that aspect of it in Lucidpress. but it is just a few of the options that are available to you. The main one that you probably want to use is going to be that PNG export out of Illustrator because of the SVG difficulty regarding the stroke weight. Both of those problems can be overcome, but they take extra steps. Okay. As far as JPEG graphics, those come in clean. Actually, this is not even a JPEG. This is a PNG. But JPEGs and PNGs without transparency come in cleanly. You shouldn't have any trouble with those either, and you can place those however you need to into the image and scale them. But you'll notice this one is scaling proportionally. So if it is something that you need to be able to distort or stretch a little bit, you're pretty much in SVG land at that point if you're trying to work on your graphic and work with it in that particular way.